to share more opal with you right now. This is Boulder Opal. This is the 18-inch necklace. So it's not just the pendant, you're receiving the strand at the same time, and it is an event price for our Mother's Day event of $169. So right out of the gate, we've taken $30 off. Check this out. Jay, this is gorgeous.
Okay, what makes this so unique and so different, you can see
right there.
Yeah, the reason that they call this Boulder Opal, it's because the matrix you're seeing here, so the brown colored material that has striations, what's happened is you have a jelly opal that has grown inside of the matrix. So what happened was there was in this case, this is an igneous formation. So at one time it was molten. And when it did that, it had bubbles and it actually made seams. And then what happened was the opal percolated down and settled in those seams, and that's why they call it Boulder Opal. So that's really a jelly opal. There's no two of these that will look alike. This material is not only rare, it's just literally impossible to get it, and the price is through the roof. Yeah. The material that you're looking at here, I bought over 15 years ago. Okay,
really?
Yeah. If
you have willpower,
my friend. In October last year, it was the last trip that I took to Australia, and this was one of the materials that I went in search of, and it was really funny because I got to look up a lot of my old mining buddies, and it turns out that I have more Boulder Opal than they do. Really? So this is, these are real limited. There was less than 100 of these manufactured. So if you're somebody who really likes something that's unique and different, this is something you might want to really consider, because these, like I said, we made less than 100, and when those are gone, they're gone. We don't have any more of the material whatsoever. There is zero of this rough.
Okay, do you see, now, Jay, that looks like
look
precious
at the size
opal
of
on
this.
the inside.
Yeah,
so that jelly opal is coming across with your iridescence, your opalescence. You can see it on Brittany. There it is, a fourth version of the pendant, because the stone in the center is going to be totally different. But you guys picked, you really, like chasing the fire in a diamond or labradorite, you really picked the way to do these center stones.
Yeah, we went through every piece of the rough that we had. We made the necklace out of the matrix, and then the Boulder Opal portion of it, they have to actually, they have the rough, if you can imagine, and they slice it like you would like a loaf of bread. And then they have to orient the stones and the seams. They have to see where the seams is, and then they have to cut it a certain way, otherwise you lose the fire in the opal.
Do you see that?
But there's no two of these that are identical, okay? And this is brand spanking new. Like I said, fewer than 100 of these were made.
I'm gonna show you that
fewer
next one.
than 100.
Oh, that's
and so when they're